Hey everyone, this is Anton from Enhanced Auto, and today I'm here to show you how to install our Commander in every single Tesla Model Y or 3 which is built after 2020 with our brand new wire called Universal Cable. Yes, we made this product just recently and it came from the fact that there are too many Tesla options out there. There are Teslas that have a heat pump, Teslas without a heat pump, and then there is a Model 3 Highland, Model Y Juniper, Model Y Standard, and on and on and on. And since more and more Teslas are coming and they're being produced from different factories such as Giga Texas, Berlin, and Shanghai, we had to make something very universal that's gonna fit everybody. So a lot of you don't have to wonder which cable I should use for my Commander installation. Let me show you what the differences are. So the old cable that my colleague is going to show you right now is something looking similar to this, and everybody who owns our product has a similar cable, no matter if your car was produced in 2021 or 2025. But although they look similar, on the inside they're completely different. So it was very confusing, especially for people who buy their car secondhand and they do not know the production date of the car. But with the universal cable, this problem is absolutely solved. Let me show you what comes inside this package. So once you open it up, you're gonna have this thing right here, which is gonna be the CAN module, which pulls data directly from your car, and it's connected extremely simple in your car. I'm gonna show you a little bit later. And then you have additional 2 wires. They look identical, however, they're different. And you need to use the right cable for the model that you currently own. And as you can see, we have put tags and the variants of models that this cable is supporting. So whenever you receive your brand new Commander with this type of cable, you just need to pull it out and see, wow, is my Model 3 pre-facelift with a heat pump? Then this is the wire I need to use. And this one you can actually save for later, because maybe in a couple of years you want to change your Model 3 into a different model, and then you can use this cable for your brand new car. Also inside the package you're going to find a pry tool, and this is the only tool that you're going to need for the entire installation method, no matter if your car was built in 2021 or 2025. Let me show you how it's done. As you can see, I'm standing right next to the Model Y Juniper, which was built in 2025, but this doesn't matter. This installation is going to be absolutely the same for every Model 3 and Y owner which has a heat pump inside their vehicles. It's also going to be the same for everybody who owns a right-hand drive vehicle. The port is located at the same location on the same side, so you don't have to wonder if you have to change the sides. By the way, the port is located right here. We call it the right A pillar on every Tesla Model 3 or Y. Now, the first thing we need to do is check which cable is for our model. Since this is the Juniper, I'm going to use this one, which says Juniper. And the other one, I'm just going to put it on the side because I'm not going to need it for now. The second thing, I need to make sure that the pry tool is with me. This is the only thing you're going to need because everything inside Tesla is made with clips, and you just need to take them apart. The first thing I always do is I turn off the Tesla display. It's not like it's necessary. 99% of our installations we have done are being with the display power on. However, me personally, just for peace of mind, I go into safety, scroll all the way down and press on the power off button. The second thing I like to do is to remove the mat. Now, everybody has different mats. Some of them are larger and they might end up pushing on the side panel, which is going to make it a little bit difficult for me to take it apart. Now, when the mat is gone, the second thing I'm going to do is remove this rubber seal right here. This is not being glued, it's just been held there, and it's extremely easy to place back. I'm going to show you at the end of this video. So you just pull it back and try to pull it as far back as the seat goes, and then just leave it hanging just like that at the end. The next is going to be the action with the pry tool. I like to start around the glove box area, and I'm going to use this part of it. I'm going to jam it right here between the glove box and the piece itself, and then I'm going to gently start pulling it up until it pops. There you go, it popped from the bottom. Now there's one more pin holding it here, and I'm going to gently start shaking it until it unclicks. And there you go. So this was the part that was holding it here. This is the part that was holding it here. And then I'm just going to pull it away. So it was that simple to take apart. Now, underneath, what we're going to check right here is going to be the only single plastic pin that's going to be holding the entire L-shaped piece. As you can see on the outside part of the pin, there are 2 small openings right here. If they're slightly shifted, you just need to take your fingers and move it around. Then by using the pry tool, we're gonna have to jam one side of it in that one opening right here. So I place it and I slowly start pulling it away, and bam, it just like that come apart. Then with my fingers, I pull it out, and this is how exactly it looks. Make sure you're not gonna lose this one, just put it on your seat. We're gonna use it at the end. Then the next part is gonna be to take away this plastic pin from the car itself. There are a few different methods. I'm gonna show you my personal one that I'm using. However, you can also use the pry tool as a jamming mechanism and just place it right here and try to take it apart just like that. But for me, since I have removed the mat as you saw earlier, I just use my hands, grab it right here wherever these two sections meet together, and I start pulling directly up, and it comes off from one of the sides, and then I keep pulling and pulling until the entire piece comes out. And this is how it looks. Now I need to be honest, we have done this installation on this car probably 100 times, so the pins are very loose. Whenever you're doing this for the first time, it's going to be a little bit more stiff. It's normal. What you just need to do is apply a little bit more force and use a shaking method. Just grab it, shake it from one end until it unclips itself. When we're at this stage, we're going to have to look for two ports. One of them is the place where the Commander is going to pull its power from, and it's this port right here. Here we're going to install this wire by daisy chaining it, but I'm going to show you this in just a second. And the second port can be located in a few different places. On some vehicles, it's right here on the top. On some, it's a little bit more further in the back, like on this car, for instance. If you see this open gray port here, so this is the diagnostic port that Tesla is going to be using whenever they have to run some diagnostics on your vehicle whenever you go to a service center, and that's why it's always going to be open. And on some vehicles, it's even located right behind all these wires here. So you're going to have to look for it depending on the car and where it was produced, and it also can be in different colors. I have seen it in blue, I've seen it in white, I think I also seen it in black. So no matter how it looks, it's the same OBD cable or OBD port that we're going to be using to power this thing in. And connecting this wire into this port is extremely simple. You just use the male part of our cable and snap it in. And it's going to stay there until you want to take it off. Now, in which cases I'm going to take out the Commander from the car? Well, number one, whenever I visit a Tesla service center, as I told you earlier, this is the same port that the Tesla technician is going to plug his diagnostic tools to run inspections on your car whenever you go there to complain about an issue that you are having. And in 99% of the places, you're not going to have an issue having the Commander installed there. However, in rare occasions, the technician is going to have to do this extra work removing this third-party accessory from the car so he can reach the port, and that's why he might charge you an extra money. And just to not get this headache, I would suggest you to remove the Commander before you go for your visit. And to remove it, it's extremely simple. You just need to find this safety mechanism which is installed on the cable right here. Use your finger, press on it, grab on the plastic part of the cable itself, and then pull it off. As you can see, I'm not pulling through the cables itself. I'm holding on the plastic because I want to make sure that I'm not going to rip off the cable from this port itself. Now, let's plug it back in. And obviously, I'm going to uninstall the Commander whenever I want to sell my car because I want to reuse it in my next Tesla I want to own. The second thing we need to do is daisy chain this power wire, which is going to be powering the Commander later on. And as I said earlier, it's going to be powered right here. And the principle here is absolutely the same. If you can look closely, there's a small pin mechanism right here, which we need to press first. That's going to unlock it, and then holding it with my fingers, I unplug it just like that. Very simple. Then I'm going to use my cable to daisy chain it in, so the female part goes into the male socket, just like that, and the male part, it goes into the female socket. Now, because we have been through a lot of different variants of the wires that we were producing throughout the years, we found out that the power cable needs to be in place all the time so the Commander never disconnects or reboots. That was a complaint that people had in the past. That's why we made a pin mechanism which locks these two ports together extremely tight. So if you want to take it out, you definitely going to have to use your pry tool. And again, the same method as I showed you earlier, you're going to have to press on this little mechanism right here, all the way in, and then grab it by the plastic and then pull it out. This is how simple you're going to take it apart. And now at the end, we have two cables that are just dangling on its own. One here and one here. We need to simply connect them together. And now the last thing we need to do is make sure that the Commander is going to get powered. So there's a LED light right here. When we plug the cable, it needs to come on green. Let's plug it. And there you go. It blinks green, which means there is power running through the cable, and I'm ready to assemble everything back together. Before we move forward, let's do a little cable management. So this port, which is going to be free, is going to be used for any other third-party accessories you might want to install in your car. For instance, our sexy strip. The strip itself comes with its own controller, and again, a wire like this, and you just need to daisy chain them one into another. So this port is going to stay just like that, but the Commander, I like to jam it right here between these two cables, just so whenever I go over a bump, it bounces into these wires instead of bouncing into plastic or metal and then rattle itself. And everything else can stay just like this. There's not going to be any issue because we're going to put the L-shaped piece back on top of it. Whenever placing this piece back, first we need to make sure to align these protrusions with the little holes which are located right here around the footwell area. And then we need to make sure to align these pins with these openings down here. Once they are, we're going to press and they're going to lock into place. Now it might take you a little bit of time to position it, but there's nothing to be worried. What I'm going to do is push this side inward towards the car and keep this side on the outside of the glove box. And it almost goes completely in. Then the bottom part of the glove box is going to be preventing me to push it forward. So I'm going to jam it in a little bit until I make sure that these protrusions that I mentioned earlier are aligned with the holes down here. Now this one is, the other one is as well, and I'm ready to start aligning these pins down here. Now what I like to do is align the back one with a little opening that there is for it right here, and then every other one is going to be aligned as well, and I just press and they click into place. And as you can see, it stays extremely flush. Now another way to know if the L-shaped piece is properly aligned is to make sure that these holes here fit into the same place, because this is where this pin is going to come in, and probably this is going to be the hardest part for you to do because a lot of people do it wrong. There's two states of this pin, locked and unlocked state. So currently it's being locked and this part is wider, so you're not able to press it in. That's why we need to push it out and then squeeze it with our fingers so the surface is way smaller, and then we need to align it with the hole right here, just like this. As you can see, it was extremely simple, and the last thing I need to do is press it in so it gets locked. The second to the last thing left to do is put back this triangular shaped piece back into the car. Now, interesting fact is that if your car is a little bit older, pre-refresh model before the Highland and Juniper, these are going to be two separate pieces. However, on the Juniper and Highland, they're one single unit, but the idea how you place them back in is absolutely identical. So the only thing you need to follow is to make sure that these pins align with the holes that you currently see on the screen, and also this part, which is especially on the top, goes inside the cutout that Tesla has done in the trim panel right there before you start pressing it in. As you can see here, Tesla already has done a cutout for us. So what we're going to do is place the bottom part, align it with this hole right here, and then they're simply going to fit together. Then I'm going to press this whole piece in and forward, and it's going to snap into one place. There you go. And the last thing for us guys to do before we move into setting up your Commander is going to be to put the rubber seal back in. It's extremely easy because it has these grooves that are going to go inside this sharp panel down here. What I like to do is start from the back and just follow the line. I'm not pressing hard. I'm just aligning it into one place, and it automatically goes in on its own. Then I'm doing a final touch just to make sure that it's not popping out anywhere. And this is it. Guys, this is how simple it was to install the Commander inside a Model 3 or Y built after 2020 that has a heat pump. Remember that there is one extra wire left inside the package, which you should not throw away because it's going to come in extremely handy if one day you decide to switch your car. If you own one of the very first Model 3s that were produced from 2018 until 2020, there's a different installation video for those cars. I'm going to leave a link for them down in the description of these videos, as well as an installation method for the Model S and X cars, which use a totally different wire. Thank you so much for watching this video. Enjoy your brand new Commander, and I'm going to see you in the next one.